everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today I'm going to be doing another tag video, and today's tag is the stock Aitken and Waterman tag. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books, and today I'm going to be bringing you another book tag, which I have been tagged in this time by Jenniferlovesbooks. Gemma tagged me in this one, and the original of this tag, the stock Aitken and Waterman tag, is by Jenniferlovesbooks. I would urge you to check out Jennifer's original video because it's great fun. Do check that out. I will link it in the description box down below, and I will also link Gemma's video down there as well for you to go and check out her brilliant channel. So stock Aitken and Waterman were music producers in the 80s, I believe. This tag uses some of their most famous tracks as the prompts, relates them to books. So what could be better? Music and books. So let's get straight into it. There are 10 prompts today, and there might even be a bonus track at the end. Number one is "You'll Never Stop Me From Loving You" by Sonia. This prompt asks for an author whose books you will automatically read even though some of their books haven't lived up to your expectations. Wow. You know who I'm going to say first, and that is Agatha Christie. Some of Agatha Christie's books are not my absolute favourites, and as you will know if you've watched my video where I attempted a top 10, there are some Agatha Christie books that I've rated quite low on the first reading, and certainly a couple of her more thrillerish type books I think I would still probably rate quite low on a second reading. It's possible that I actually won't reread them. However, no amount of her thrillerish books could stop me from loving Agatha Christie, and if she was still putting out books, I would read all of them. I still intend to read all of them. I've read all of her mysteries and thrillers now, and all of her short stories. And what I really want to do now is read her plays and her poetry, and anything also autobiographical that she wrote. I just recently read her own autobiography, and this was a great read too, even though it's very different obviously from her mysteries. Even the books that I didn't enjoy as much would never stop me from loving Agatha Christie. Anyway, on to question 2. This one has my favourite title, "You Spin Me Round" by Dead or Alive, which is a song that everyone can really enjoy. I would sing it, but I can't sing. So this demands a book with so many twists and turns that you get dizzy. There were lots of books I could have chosen for this. So the book I've actually chosen is a book I read last year, and it's The Corset by Laura Purcell. Now, I first started reading Laura Purcell with her book The Silent Companions. I had this recommended to me on Twitter last year around Halloween. I then was telling my mum about this book, and she found in the library Bone China by Laura Purcell, and then later The Corset by Laura Purcell. And I found The Corset really tricky because it was a sort of book where I kept thinking I knew exactly what was happening and where it was going, and then there was twist after twist after twist, and by the end I was pretty blown away by the book. I thought the twists were very well done. I should say it is a bit different from things that I normally recommend. It is kind of a historical fiction, but yeah, check it out. It's really interesting. Prompt number 3 is Too Many Broken Hearts by Jason Donovan, a book that broke your heart. The book that broke my heart was The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. Since I've read it, I can be moved to tears just by talking about it. Just the sheer tragedy of what happens in this book. And it's so beautifully written, and it's so well told through the narrator, who is death itself. I just cried and cried and cried. This book is desperately sad, and it really did get me thinking about the complete terrible pointlessness and waste of war. But it's also a beautiful book about reading and a love letter to literacy, and just a wonderful book. I urge anyone who hasn't read The Book Thief. I know it's a book that a lot of people have on their TBR, and they have it on their TBR for years. I had it on my TBR for years, and I wish I'd read it sooner, but do not read it unless you have got tissues handy. it's very, very sad. Question number 4 is Love in the First Degree by Bananarama, your favourite fictional couple. This was the prompt that I found the hardest. The book I want to mention for my favourite fictional couple is High Fidelity, and this is a book about a man who is pretty hopeless in love, and he, after a breakup, decides to contact all of his ex-girlfriends to find out why they didn't work out. And he's also made a list of his top 5 breakups, because he likes to make lists of top 5 everythings, and he's very into records. I read this book a very long time ago, but I would still describe it as my second favourite book of all time. I'm going to go for Rob and the woman he eventually ends up with, who I will leave nameless so I don't spoil the book for you. But Rob and his eventual partner are a very good fictional couple despite their difficulties. Question number 5 is I Should Be So Lucky by Kylie Minogue, a book by an Irish author. One of my favourite books of all time by an Irish author would have to be After You'd Gone by Maggie O'Farrell. I know Maggie O'Farrell has become extremely stratospherically famous lately for writing Hamnet. I haven't actually read that yet, but years ago I read After You'd Gone, and it was a book that really, really stuck with me. And it was one of the first books where I really found myself thinking about the ending for a long time afterwards. It's a really, really intriguing book, and I really, really enjoyed this one. Number 6 is Say I'm Your Number One by Princess, your favourite prize-winning book. I found this one quite tricky because I don't tend to read prize-winning books, and I looked back through some prize winners and noticed that all of the prize winners that I had read, I didn't really like them very much. So recently I read True History of the Kelly Gang, which I believe won the Booker Prize, I think, and I didn't like that at all. Oh, and also one of the other award winners that I saw was Life of Pi, which is one of the only books I've ever DNF'd. So yeah, I'm not very good with award winners, but I looked up other awards and I found that the CWA Gold Dagger is an award for crime fiction. I looked through the previous winners of that and I picked out Black and Blue by Ian Rankin, which is a really good book in his Rebus series. This is number 8 in the series, so he's really got into his stride by this point. And in this one, Rebus is juggling 4 cases trying to nail 1 killer. It's a really, really good book, and it won the CWA Gold Dagger 1997, so quite a while ago, but well worth a read if you are into your police detective fiction. Prompt number 7 is The Harder I Try by Brother Beyond, an author you just can't get into. Now, when I was working out my answers for this tag, what I came up with was James Patterson, but it has just struck me a moment ago that I have got a better answer to this, and that I haven't really tried that hard with James Patterson. But Along Came a Spider, I thought I would start with it because I thought it's his first book and it's supposed to be really good. So I got this. I do remember taking this on a holiday. I do remember starting it on a plane. I do remember being extremely bored. I think I've got a bookmark in here at chapter 11, so I've only actually given it 54 pages of chance. It's one of my longest standing books on my so-called currently reading. Haven't read a word of it for at least 5 years. Not sure I'm going to get into James Patterson, but we will see. The better answer I've just thought of is Kathy Reichs, because I spoke about her in one of my earliest videos. I really, really thought that the Bones series of books featuring Temperance Brennan would be right up my street. I absolutely loved Patricia Cornwall. These sounded virtually identical to the Kay Scarpetta series, so I thought I would really like them. However, I did not really like them. I've actually given this author 3 chances now. I've read the first 3 books in the Bones series, and I kept telling myself they were going to get better and that I should give it a big chance, especially as I had bought myself a set of 10 of the books, which was, in hindsight, a little bit foolish. So I've read Deja Dead, Death du Jour and Deadly Decisions, and they didn't get any better. I don't care about the main character. I know a lot of people love the Bones series and love Kathy Reichs in general, so this is just my opinion. It's just an author that I've really tried to like and I really haven't liked. So I did actually unhaul all of those books, and if you go back to one of my earliest videos, you will see the full rant on how much I love the book Deadly Decisions. Hello Harry, how are you today? Have you come to talk about authors that we don't like? I can't see the questions now. You're in front of the questions. One moment, because Harry is in front of the prompts, and we need prompt number 8, don't we, Harry? So prompt number 8 is Happenin' All Over Again by Lonnie Gordon. Your favourite series or sequel? I think you will all know by now what my favourite series is, and that would be the Poirot series by Agatha Christie. I was delighted to see that these are also Jennifer's favourite series in the original tag video. Yeah, absolutely can't beat Poirot. Prompt number 9 is Toy Boy by Sunita, and this one asks me, what is my favourite poet or poem? My favourite poet is Philip Larkin, which might seem like a bit of a strange choice, but I studied him at AS level. This is the book we studied, The Wits and Weddings, and my favourite poem is probably in between The Wits and Weddings, the title poem, because I just love the ending of it. And the final poem in the book is called An Arundel Tomb. That's just an amazing ending as well. They're both quite long. I'm going to read you the ending line of The Wits and Weddings, which I absolutely love. I'll read you the last 2 verses. So this is a poem about a train journey, and the Wits and Weddings themselves are weddings that Larkin sees from the window of his train. In the second to last verse, he's describing what's going past. Just long enough to settle hats and say, I nearly died. A dozen marriages got underway. They watched the landscape sitting side by side. An Odeon went past, a cooling tower, and someone running up to bowl. And none thought of the others they would never meet, or how their lives would all contain this hour. I thought of London spread out in the sun, its postal districts packed like squares of wheat. There we were aimed. And as we raced across bright knots of rail, past standing Pullmans, walls of blackened moss came close, and it was nearly done, this frail travelling coincidence, and what it held stood ready to be loosed with all the power that being changed can give. We slowed again, and as the tightened brakes took hold, there swelled a sense of falling, like an arrow shower, sent out of sight, somewhere becoming rain. I just love that end of that poem, the idea of a frail travelling coincidence and the people who you share these moments with that you will never meet again, and the feeling of falling that you get on a train. I think about this poem every single time when the train is stopping. It's just had that power on me. So I do love poetry, but I don't often read it. Anyway, question 10 is Together Forever by Rick Astley, the book that has been on your TBR the longest. Again, I did make a video back in May, I think, of the books I wanted to read that I had on my TBR physically since, I think it was 2008, which is very, very bad. But when I actually got out all the books to do the giant TBR video, I discovered that there was a book that I'd had even longer than that, and I've actually had this book since childhood and I still haven't read it. So it's called Memory by Margaret Mahy, and I have a memory of asking for this book at a book fair, I think, maybe, and it has a bookmark in it, quite a long way into the book, I must say. The bookmark is a clean tissue, and I got up to page 168 of 233, and this book has moved house with me many, many times. I think I've owned this book for more than 20 years, and I've read 168 pages of it and abandoned it, so I am planning to try and read this book soon. Let's hope I do get to it, because it's been far too long that we've been together. So the last prompt is Especially For You by Kylie and Jason. It's the bonus track, and it is to recommend me a book you think I will love. So this one's over to you. Please comment down below a book that you think I will love. I would like to tag in this one Jack at Spread Book Joy. I absolutely love Jack's channel, and it's all about getting children to read and also about the books that Jack enjoys herself, so do go and check out her great channel, which I'll link in the description down below. And I'm also going to tag Berna's Bookish Adventures, which is another channel that I've recently discovered and I'm really enjoying. And I know Berna likes a good mystery like I do. If you haven't done this tag before and you would really like to, please feel free to be tagged by me. As always, if you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do talk about books here on the channel on a very regular basis. I hope to see you all again soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.